From time to time, I kind of like to make these type of videos, and just let me give you a quick baseball stat. It's a crazy stat if you just digest it here and think about it. In 1968, okay, we're referring to 1968, Bob Gibson had 13 shutouts. 13 shutouts, okay? 1968, Bob Gibson. You're familiar with Bob Gibson. Max Scherzer has 9 complete games in his entire Major League Baseball career. Let me give you that stat again. In 1968 alone, Bob Gibson, 13 shutouts. Max Scherzer has 9 complete games in his entire Major League Baseball career. They might be saying to me, listen, shutout, complete game are completely two different stats. Right? That's the point I'm trying to make. You can have 13 shutouts in one season compared to only 9 complete games in all of Max Scherzer's career. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. You can't have a shutout that isn't a complete game, and that's why it's so impressive. Pitchers today, I don't think, will never compare statistically to pitchers in the old days. Most records can never be broken because of the amount of time the starters got back then. You might even say that you were surprised that the starters weren't even injured weren't injured more often than they were back then. You know, it's a different game. It's definitely a different game. You know, I remember hearing stories about Don Newcomb of the Dodgers. You know, before they moved to LA, pitched and won both games of a doubleheader. Pitched and won both games of a doubleheader. Bob Gibson and others of that generation kind of used to pitch 300 plus innings every year. Going back further, I remember stories of Will White of the 1879, yes, I'm going back to 1879, Cincinnati Reds, who pitched in 680 innings. Since 1900, the most innings pitched in a season is 464. Ed Walsh of the Chicago White Sox in 1908. Since 1950, the most innings pitched in a season is 376 2/3 by Wilbur Wood of the Chicago White Sox in 72. Actually, wait, Newcomb didn't get a decision in the second game. That's right, he didn't get the win in the second game. He got a no decision. Lifted for a pinch hitter in the in the seventh, I think, trailing 2-0 to the Phillies. Newcomb's line that day was 16 innings pitched, 11 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Put into factor, those guys weren't throwing maybe 100 miles per hour, fastballs, which I guess you could say puts a huge strain on a pitcher's arm. No one, I think, in the world can throw 100 pitches consistently without injury that fast, right? 2 different games. 2 different games now. Now, would I say that today's pitchers are coddled? I don't know if I would say that. You know, today's pitchers are throwing mid to upper 90s consistently, breaking balls in the upper 80s. It takes a lot of toll on your body. Though you might say, okay, how many innings? It's hard to compare. In '68, the mound was, I believe, 5 inches higher. And this is not as meant as disrespect to Gibson. Dude was a god. 5 inches, too, is a lot for what it's worth. Pitching downhill is brutal on a hitter. I think lowering the mound helped the hitters a bit more. But how pure would a hitter really be if they could still get those type of pitches there? Pre-'68 had some of the best hitters ever. Now everyone can hit. You might even make the argument that in '68 he was so dominant in Gibson. It's probably he alone is probably the reason the mound got lowered. You could probably even compare him to any modern pitcher nowadays. But baseball, you know, as a whole, is a completely different game, as you kind of guys heard. The last couple minutes I've been speaking here. Hope all is well. Look forward to speaking to you soon.